when I first, you don't realize how blue pill most relationships are. So that's the
Right,
norm in America. And
right,
and the red pill
right,
wasn't really mainstream back then. So some of the stuff you would say I would think was an overreaction or it'd be kind of out there. And then time passed and I just thought, "Holy crap, Donovan knows his stuff." Like, I just when it comes to what women say versus what they mean, there's no one that knows it better than you.
right.
Nobody.
Well, and the reason why is because I have had many, many, many failures with women, and I tell this to my guys all the time. For every story that I have ever told about some big-breasted blonde that I, gamed, some one-night stand I had with a hot redhead or a brunette, there are 50 stories of absolute utter failure. And I think in life, and I think this goes with anything you do in life. I think you learn more from failure than you do from winning, right? Even in sports. Like if you win, okay, great, we won. But when you lose, if you look at yourself with a critical eye, if you're honest with yourself, you will learn a lot more, during your losses than your wins. For example, let's just say someone Stephen Curry, right? Greatest
Mm.
shooter ever. He shoots a bunch of threes. Stephen Curry has missed more three-pointers than he's ever taken, but with every miss, he learns a little bit more about what to do, what not to do, and on any particular technique. And so over the years, Stephen Curry has sort of honed his craft, and it's not really knowing what to do, it's knowing what not to do. We all know, hey, in order to shoot, you play basketball, Pearl. In order to
Yeah.
shoot, you put the ball over your head and you let it go. But there are certain things you can do, like spreading your fingers across the basketball, the way you aim with your eye, the way you aim for spot 6 inches before the basket. That increases the odds of it going in. The arc of the ball, you shoot it a little higher, so it has more of a chance to go in. Well, the same thing goes on the dating market. If you go out and you approach, I don't know, let's just say 10 girls, and they all blow you out, they all reject you, instead of getting into your feelings, which is very easy to get because rejection is not easy to get used to, but it's a lot easier for men to get used to. But instead of just she rejected me, blah 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 blah, you have to think to yourself, okay, what did I say, what did she say? She told me that she had a boyfriend, but she told me she had a boyfriend like 3 seconds after I approached her, right? And
Mhm.
so I wondered why, when I kept trying, she told me, hey, look, I told you I had a boyfriend, whereas you approach another girl and you're talking to her for 10, 15 minutes, and then she tells you that she has a boyfriend. That's exactly what you're thinking. You're like, okay, is it really that she has a boyfriend? No, she told you that as a shit test, right? So the
Mhm.
earlier in the set she tells you she has a boyfriend, the more likely it is that it's a rejection. If you learn these things and if you apply what you've learned and you go out and approach girls, you know that if you've been talking to a girl for 10, 15 minutes and then she says she has a boyfriend, you know she's probably lying and she's saying that to throw you off the scent. And so that's really the main reason I created Womanese was to let guys know, hey, listen, this is what women say versus what they really mean.
And so how long did it take you from when you were a complete blue-pilled simp to to, like, how many
Oh,
years did it take you to
oh my
figure
God.
all this out? Like, I think it would help people to know, like, how many reps you had or how
Oh
many
my God,
approaches
dude.
you did, how many
God.
girl like, what was
Oh,
your origin story? 'Cause, some
oh
people
my
might not
God.
know it here.
Yeah. So, oh my God. So, oh my goodness gracious. Well, to make a very, very long story very short, so the way I discovered the red pill is I had just gotten out of a really, really bad breakup.
Can
That's
we see
not
him?
the relationship that red pilled me. Got out of a bad breakup, moved to Atlanta for 6 months, decided I didn't want to live there. Then I moved out to Vegas. And so I got this call center telemarketing job, pardon me, because I'm really good at sales, I have a good speaking voice, et cetera, et cetera. Well, there was this Mexican girl who was attractive-ish. Looking back now, she probably wasn't as attractive as I thought she was at the time. And we really started to hit off. And everyone said to themselves, okay, it's only a matter of time before Donovan and Martha, the girl's name, hook up. Well, of course, we hooked up, and we had this 3-week relationship. Well, 3 weeks into the relationship, it just clicked in my mind. I honestly stayed with her probably 2 weeks longer than I should have, just because I was getting regular sex, and it had been a while since I'd had sex with any girl
Mhm.
for any period of time. But she was a single mother. She had a bad kid. Her house was always messy. She was an absolute dumpster fire. So even then, I had the foresight to say, okay, let me just go and dump this girl. So I go over to her place and I dumped her face to face. I was like, hey, it's not going to work out. Blah 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 blah. And what shocked me was that she didn't seem surprised at all. She didn't take it as hard as I thought she was. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of trauma. and a bunch of crying.
You thought she
But
was
she
gonna
was like,
cry.
but here's why I thought she was gonna cry. This is my blue pill mind. Because a week and a half before, she told me she loved me. Now, I didn't tell her she loved me back, but I was like, no, there's no way this girl loves me because we've only been seeing each other for a week and a half. We haven't known each other that long. She's really just trying to reel me in. So I was a little bit shocked when I told her, all right, Martha, it's not working out. We need to go our separate ways. She was like, okay. Well, later on, I go home and, I'm doing my thing. And, a friend of hers calls me up. She's like, yeah, Martha just called and told me that, you are going your separate ways. I was like, yeah, it wasn't working out, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, how's she doing anyway? Because again, I'm thinking, okay, maybe this was just a delayed reaction. She's like, yeah, actually, she's getting ready to go out on a date. And I was like, what? Like, I dumped this chick like an hour and a half ago. Why is she going out on a date? And so that
Oh,
right
that's
then and
so
there, after I got
funny.
off the phone with my friend, okay, I jumped on the internet and I typed in, why do girls get over breakups so easily? And that Google search changed everything. That was the genesis of Donovan Sharp. So that's the Reader's Digest version of how I got into the manosphere.
So I guess my question is though, from there, like, did it take you 1 year, 2 years? Because your womanese is so detailed. Like
Mhm.
you go through everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I read it, I'm like, he must have spent years studying
Yeah.
this stuff. So how long did it take from point A to developing the course, I guess?
Lord, probably about a decade. Probably about a decade. I discovered the red pill in the summer of 2010. I came out with the Womanese course, incidentally enough, in 2021. And, listen, the good Lord, whoever he is, blessed me with a very good memory. And so, throughout my life, I just kind of reflect on all of the interactions that I've had with women, the conversations that I've had. And what I quickly began to discover after consuming enough red pill content is, wait a minute, women are not really direct. They don't really say what it is that they actually mean. And the interesting thing, Pearl, is that a lot of men these days, we want women to be more direct. And let's be honest, if women were more direct, we wouldn't have to read between the lines with everything they say. But on the other side of that, if you deal with women on the regular, like I did for the better part of a decade, whether it's at work, your relationship, your family, anytime you deal with women, you can't actually really count on the fact that they are going to tell you exactly what they mean. And it sucks to not be able to take what they say at face value because it causes a lot of confusion and frustration, especially when you're dealing with them romantically. Now, the two main reasons why women aren't direct is number one, being verbally direct is seen as a masculine trait, right? It is a trait that is admired in men. When a woman is direct, what is she seen as? Bitchy, bossy,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, or a woman with a bad attitude a lot of times. A woman certainly won't, they don't want to be that way, right? So they generally avoid being direct when talking to people. The second reason women aren't direct is because it makes them look bad a lot of times. Here, give me an example. If a woman is attracted to a guy and wants to sleep with him, she's not going to say, he's hot, I want to bang him. Obviously, that makes her look like a hoe. So instead, what she'll do is she'll make up something nebulous about him to give herself an excuse to be around him to sort of give herself the opportunity to make the sex happen. So, in other words, so instead of saying, well, I really like the guy, I want to bang him, she'll be like, you know what, Dave over there, I really like his energy. Translation, I want to bang him. But the way but the way modern women operate today, Pearl, and you experienced this firsthand doing the pregame, interviewing 1,000 women, they use their indirectness as a way to play games with men, as a way to mislead men, and sometimes even flat out lie to men about what their intentions are. However, if you are familiar with the way women communicate in terms of what they say versus what they mean, you can pick up on this stuff rather quickly. And that, in large part, is the reason I created Womanese 101.
And is it frustrating to you when blue pill men, like I see them attack you all the time when you
Yeah.
are correct?
Yeah.
And it's like, do you think that blue pill men know that you're correct and they're just white knighting, or do you think they're ignorant and they think they're doing the
I,
right thing?
yeah, I think a lot of them are ignorant, and I think a lot of them are, caping up for their fair maidens. But you know what they always say: hit dogs holler, right? And
Yeah.
there are a lot of blue pilled men out here, Pearl, who probably low key know that most bitches out here really ain't shit. But they can't really they can't admit it to themselves or other people because then it destroys this rose colored view of who and what women really are. A lot of men would like for women to keep that allure and that mystery and that mystique about them, like they're these otherworldly creatures. But women, they burp, fart, and shit just like the rest of us. And the sooner men understand and recognize that women are really women, like there's no woman that is special. And I remember a long time ago, a really good friend of mine said, you know what, Donovan, women are people too. And that sort of let me know. And obviously women are people too, but a lot of men operate like women are these otherworldly, godly, and angelic like creatures.
Mhm.
But when you've been around them enough, just like you have, and you hear them communicate enough and you see what they say versus what they mean, for example, he's an asshole. Well, you know that if a woman says that a guy is an asshole in this day and age, she probably wants to bang him. She might really actually think he's an asshole, Pearl. But guess what? That doesn't mean that she doesn't still want to bang him. And a lot of times women will make sure that the asshole finds out that he called her an asshole. That's almost like an indirect shit test. I'm going to let Brad know that I called him an asshole indirectly. And if Brad comes over and hollers, then Brad must understand the way women really work. This is happening in their firmware. They're not doing this consciously. They're doing this subconsciously. And this is, and again, this is what woman, and the, you know, the Womanese 101 course, 625 different translations. 625. That's a lot of translations. Like I said, it took me 10 years to sort of aggregate all this stuff and put it together, but I'm very proud of it. I really am.
Well, and the other thing too that like kind of red pilled me was I'm sure you've seen this on Fresh and Fit. Whenever a guy and a girl, like a girl kept arguing with a guy, she's trying to sleep with him.
Oh yeah.
9 out of
Absolutely.
10 times the cameras go
Absolutely.
off. She's talking to him after. And I'm like, you were just yelling at him 10 minutes ago.
Incredible. Dude,
You've reacted to so many. I'll show you some of the clips where the girl was trying to bang. And then I was like, we don't go for 10% of men or 20%. It's not that bad. And then there'd be like a single mother of 4 that's going for like this jacked god-looking guy on the show. And I'm like, how do you not see you're a single mom of 4? How do you not see this guy is out of your league? Like,
well, obviously, the reason why she doesn't see that this guy is out of her league is because the world tells her never settle. You know, you deserve the best, no matter what your situation is. And the funny thing is there are a lot of men out here that are losers, right? We know who they are. We generally know what male losers look like. Lives with his mom, plays video games, he's out of shape, doesn't have any direction in life. No problem calling men losers. But we don't call women losers, right?
We don't.
And in my opinion, if you are a woman over the age of 30 and you are unmarried or not in a long-term relationship that is leading to marriage, you are a loser. Like that's just like if you are a woman and you do not procreate, you don't get married, you don't have any kids, you have failed in life. Okay. But not enough people call women losers. If you're a woman and you're a single mother of 4, you are a loser. And let's get this right. Single mothers decide to be single mothers. Okay. Birth control is the responsibility of the woman and not the man. I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with that, but this is why single mothers are losers, because they indirectly chose to be single mothers. As soon as guys get the balls to understand and put it in their mind, you know what? If this woman is a loser, I'm going to deal with her this way. If this woman is not a loser, I'm going to deal with her in another way. And that's actually what Womanese helps men to sort of, decipher. Is the woman I'm talking to, is she a loser or is she a woman of potential quality?
Yeah. And the other thing too, it drove, once I figured out that you guys were correct, I could not believe how, like they put us on a DHS watch list.
Yeah.
And it's like, they do not want men getting this information. You guys would be too powerful, right?
No, listen, and the thing is this, man, it's like, if let's just say I were to make this provocative statement, like women, all women are the color purple. Let's just say I just started a whole channel called The Color Purple and all women are the color purple. Pearl, no one's coming after me. Would you like to know why?
Yeah.
Because there are no purple women walking around, right?
Mhm.
But the reason why they attack the manosphere and the red pill is because what we talk about is correct. Hit dogs holler. If we were just talking bullshit and just making these outlandish statements that didn't make any sense whatsoever, we wouldn't be on any DHS watch list. But just like you said, they are actively trying to prevent men from having this information. Because I'll tell you something else too, Pearl. The U.S. economy, the simp economy, the U.S. economy depends upon men not being red pilled. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just say for the sake of argument, let's just say 25% of the male population in America were actually red pill aware, not even living the red pill life. The economy would fall overnight.
Correct.
Okay. the US economy relies on men not understanding what their value is as compared to the woman's value. We're always told to pedestalize the woman. The woman is valuable no matter what. And men don't really question these things because most of us have heard this stuff since the day we were born. Then guys like myself, Myron, Andrew Tate come along and we give guys another perspective. And here's another thing, Pearl, we're not telling men anything they don't already know. Most men inherently understand that there is something wrong with the dating market.
Mm.
Most men inherently understand, they know that a woman who sleeps around is not a woman who is attractive for a long-term relationship. And there are so many men that are in this battle. This is what my firmware is telling me, but this is also what the world is telling me. And 9 times out of 10, the world wins because it's all around them. But when guys like myself come along and we make these statements, guys are like, oh, yeah, you know what? That is right. I remember I was in a situation, or my buddy was in a situation, or my brother, or my cousin, or my uncle was in a situation. One thing leads to another, and you end up finding websites like ours. And so, like I said, what Womanese really aims to do is it aims to sort of lift the veil on this mystique of women. This doesn't mean that we're trying to make women look bad. Guys, women are neither good nor bad. They just are. Women are like water. They take the shape of the container that they're put in. Right now, the container is fucked up, so women are fucked up. And so guys like me exist too. We're not going to save everybody. We get that. But if we can save enough people, then, maybe we can make the world a better place. Who knows?
Yeah, if enough men were red pill aware, I think there would just be single mothers everywhere.
Yep. Yep, there
Yeah,
probably
that's
would be. Yeah, a
yeah,
lot of guys would just do nail and bales
yeah.
and yeah, they wouldn't take them seriously.
I Before we get into the womanese, I wanted to get your take on a tweet that I had that
Let's
everyone
go.
was white knighting
Oh
for.
no. Oh
So
my
I
God.
tweeted, and all I tweeted was something that a private investigator told me. I did not say this. A private investigator told me, and I tweeted this. I said, a private investigator told me to baseline assume that women are sleeping with 2 men at a time. And that's
Oh
not
yeah.
my words.
Nope.
And so I got a ton of reactions. Like one of them did an essay. It's saying you're conflating. It's just black women that do that. It's just
Oh
you're
my.
just yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. I've seen hoes of all races. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then there was other one saying, well, of course, that's what the private investigator is going to say. That's like going to a divorce attorney about marriage advice, or what the state of
Right.
marriage is like. And this got over 1 million views, and everyone's just freaking out, saying that I'm a
Holy.
doomer. And I didn't even make a statement. I just repeated what was told to me. So,
Of
what is
course.
your reaction to that information?
So you said that you should always assume a private investigator, tells you that you should assume that you should always assume that women are sleeping with 2 guys. Is that what it said?
Yeah, I could get it word for word, but yeah, it
Okay.
said to baseline assume that women are
Yep.
sleeping with 2 men at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. I'd say that's accurate. And the reason I say that's accurate is because like women, dude, sex comes so easy to women. And it cracks me up when women, there are actually women out here that brag about sleeping with 3 or 4 guys. Well, congratulations. I woke up and brushed my teeth this morning. Getting sex for women a lot of times is easier than breathing. If a man wants to be a man whore, if he wants to sleep around, he really has to work at it. All a woman has to do to be a hoe is decide to. She can walk right out the door, and she's getting hit in the face with dicks. And the men who understand how to handle them on a sexual level are the men who don't get screwed over. See, most men, Pearl, like most men, when they see the single mom, whatever the case may be, they're sort of in line to sort of get used and abused and played because the single mom is already speaking womanese as soon as you talk to her.
Yeah.
Listen, I know my worth. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not who I used to be. You and I both know, and we laugh at that because we know when they say I'm not that person anymore, translation, I used to be an epic whore who used to get trains run on me. That's why I'm a single mother. I know my value. Pardon me. When a woman says I know my value, what she means is I didn't know my value back then. So I passed my body around to all of these men when my value is at its highest. But now that my value is at its lowest, I'm going to pretend that I know my value. No, women understand and know what their value is. What they've perfected is the art of letting the world know that they think that their value is high. I have actually had women in my comments talking about I'm a high value woman, and then I'll go to their Instagram and be like, no. And here's the thing, and I'll end this little spiel with this. the value of a woman is determined not by the caliber of men that want to sleep with you, but by the caliber of men who want to commit to you. Because most girls can sleep with most guys if they want to, but most guys couldn't sleep with most girls if they wanted to, and that's the difference.
Can I play devil's advocate? So,
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
so women are actually correct when they say I didn't know my value when they were
Mhm.
younger, because when they're younger, right, they're like the sluttiest when they're under 25. They're giving
Right.
it away for free. They're giving it,
Mhm.
they don't have these high standards.
Right.
And
Okay.
so they look back, and I think retrospectively, they're like, oh, I didn't know my value because I slept with the drummer, the bartender, this
Right.
guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. And
No, no,
I
no.
could have,
That
and
that
I
makes
could have
perfect.
got more resources, but I didn't know it. I think that's
Right.
what they're communicating. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah. Yeah, listen, it's cap. It's cap. Women understand when a woman figures out that persons of the opposite sex want to have sex with them, instantly they figure out, okay, the world is open to me. If a woman is not sexually attractive, nothing is available to her.
Yeah.
Preferential treatment, dates, marriage, kids, whatever the case may be, everything is contingent. This is why a woman's primary agency is youth and beauty. It is the way she looks. Well, when a girl is young and hot, she's 21 years old, you're not going to convince me that a 21-year-old does not know that she does not have value, because when she walks into the room, she knows that 70 pairs of eyeballs are all trained on her.
Mm.
She knows right then and there that every man wants to fuck her, and because she knows that men wanting to fuck her is the key to everything, she understands very well what her value is. When they get older, they pretend not to know. But let's just say, for
Mm.
example, they really didn't know their value. Let's just say a woman said, well, I'm a valueless person. I'm just going to pass myself around. Oh, well, not my problem. Not my problem.
Exactly.
If you didn't
Exactly.
understand what your value is, if a woman walks into a room and she feels every man's eyeballs on her, if you don't know what your value is at that particular point, there's nothing I can do.